Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I want everyone to know we are recording today's information session. With that said, if you have not yet, please take the time now to turn off your video and mute yourself so you are not on the recording. At the end, we will go ahead and open it up for questioning, and you can unmute yourself, and you can even use our chat feature to type out your questions. However, during the presentation, please remain muted, write down your questions, and then we'll go ahead and answer them at the end. I am Karen Penning. I am the program manager for the Masters of Information Systems here at Cal State Long Beach, and I'll be talking to you more towards the second part of the presentation. I'll walk you guys through the application process, but for now, I'm going to turn on over to our program director. I will go ahead and let him introduce himself, and he will give you an overview of the MSIS program.
Thank you, Karen. So hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, dependent on where you are. We scheduled this info session specifically in the morning hour time because we wanted to target also our international students. So hopefully the time works for you. So today we'll talk about trends in IS in general and about the job market. And then we will move on to talk about CSULB. So why us, why CSULB, and then why specifically our program. And after that, Karen will take over and guide you through the application process. And toward the end, we will hear your questions. So if you look at any of the recent reports, last 5 to 10 years, in regards to top sectors or top industries, top companies in the world, you will see that technology is basically leading the board. So last year, many different reports, you'll see Apple, Microsoft, Google or Alphabet, Facebook. These are pretty much the top companies in terms of market capitalization, a lot of the times in terms of profit. Apple, in fact, is the most profitable organization and has been for almost the past decade. If you look about 10 to 15 years ago, like in this chart you see here, 2006, 2011, so a decade to 15 years ago, you will see that the leaders were mainly oil and gas companies, things like ExxonMobil, Shell, PetroChina. These were the leaders in the world at that time. And basically what this tells us in pretty simple English is that technology is the new oil. That's pretty much the new oil of the generation or the era. If we look at the latest PWC report, if we move on to the next slide. So this is coming from the latest PWC 2021 report that basically analyzes the top 100 companies in the world based on market cap and based on many other aspects. And this one highlight here tells you that technology is the largest sector by market cap out of the 100 companies. And if you look at the highlighted row, so row 6 on the bottom, you will see that technology sector has outperformed its expectation even during the COVID-19. And then you look at some of the most typical or mainstream industries like financial, for example, it underperformed. And consumer or healthcare underperformed. So technology has been leading the way and will continue to do so, as we said. So moving on, why IS in general? Why learn IS? So by now we know that programming is the new literacy. Everyone has to learn how to code because it helps you in many various ways. Helps you in understanding what's going on around you, because in the past we used to have IT and everything else, finance, accounting, management. Nowadays, it's no longer the case. It's interdisciplinary. You can't separate the two, and every single industry in the world utilizes IT or IS heavily in a way that it becomes part of the job. A lot of the accounting now utilize a lot of technologies in auditing, etc. So basically, you could pretty much say that every organization nowadays is somehow or somewhat and is an IT or a technology organization at the same time, because main part of their business operation, depends heavily on technology. And so as an IS major, you learn how to use, improve existing businesses, come up with new systems, and also innovate in new technologies and systems. So if we move on to next slide, typical example of disruption for businesses is Uber. Uber is like the classical disruptive technology business in the recent history. And as we all know, they have disrupted the transportation industry completely. Many businesses went out of business, taxis, transportation in general, delivery. Now they have completely disrupted the industry. If we move on to the next slide, you will see that Uber itself will be disrupted very, very soon. So in the past slide, the CEO of Uber said that if you don't disrupt yourself, someone else will. And ironically, Uber will very soon have to disrupt themselves, because Tesla and Elon Musk have announced the launch very soon, they say next year, of what they call robotaxi app. And they expect about 1 million robotaxis. And what that is simply that everyone who owns a Tesla and have purchased the autonomous driving capability can download the robotaxi app, register it, and they can utilize their car, their Tesla car, to go and Uber for them. They can be sitting at home, working, relaxing, sleeping, whatever they may be doing. And then the robotaxi will go around and work just like a typical Uber, but without a driver. And that's a typical example of how technologies keep disrupting industries. And now we are at a point where technology disrupts technology companies. And we'll see this in various other areas, also because of what the pandemic has forced on us. So you will see a lot of things related to virtual try-ons now, or virtual fitting rooms. You'll see a lot of innovations there. You'll see innovation in sports arena, because the pandemic again forced companies and organizations to innovate to be able to survive. So now you hear about those apps that will allow real-time cheering from home. So you download it, you have your speaker or microphone, and as you react to watching a baseball game or a football or soccer game, there are those real-time speakers on the field that will also show your reactions. And Microsoft already was pretty quick in having the virtual seats. So NBA last season, the season of the pandemic, not the season, the one before, as we know, all the seats were virtual. So you reserve your virtual seat via Microsoft, and they have those screens that show you. So a lot of innovation, and that is basically what IS is about. So a typical career path for MSIS graduate would be in one of these main areas. So business analyst or system analyst, which is basically the bridge between clients or users and programmers. So those are the people who actually design systems and come up with solutions to existing problems, whatever the problem may be. Finding fitting rooms, or creating a virtual fitting room, or creating a robotaxi, whatever that problem may be. Data analyst is also one of the most demanded areas now, working with data to manage, analyze, come up with insights, and even program those data analytics methodology into applications. So things like machine learning, deep learning, that we utilize all the time everywhere, like Netflix. If you're watching Netflix and you get that movie, recommended to you, that's because of a machine learning or of a data analytics approach that has been programmed within the application. Cybersecurity is also one of the most rising jobs nowadays, especially after the pandemic. It has been, I've always said, combining a career in data analytics and cybersecurity will give you the best options, because there's the two most prominent career paths now. Things could change in 5-10 years, but now they are. After the pandemic, or because of the pandemic, many organizations had to move online and virtual, which means their systems have become more vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. Many people had to work, from homes or through technology devices. So cybersecurity analysts have more demands nowadays. There are actually, if you talk to recruiters, they would tell you there are more jobs in the cybersecurity field than there are actually people or skilled employees. And then you can go things like development or programming in general, mobile application development, etc. So if we move on to the next slide, let's look at the job market specifically. Now we know how important technology is in our daily life, how important IS and what type of jobs we can target. Let's look at the job market and the top jobs in the US in general. Since we're here in the US, most likely you will come to study here and would want to find a job in the US. If you pretty much Google up, top jobs in the US, and you look at Forbes, Glassdoor, US News, you will see pretty much the same story. So again, look at the second one, data scientist or analytics in general. First one is developer, then product manager, which is very related to the business analyst role. As I told you, someone with both business and technology skills, and that's why we are in the business school. Enterprise architect. So all of these jobs that you see, in fact, are directly related to an IS field, and that's the top jobs in general, not in one specific field. We look at Forbes in the next slide, you'll see the same story. So again, best job, developer, Java developer, then data scientist, product manager, same story. And then 6 is information security engineer. As we said, security is increasing. That's why actually we are bringing more and more security courses and projects into this curriculum and this program, because this is the area we should also focus on. So moving on. So why specifically CSULB? Now we understand why MS in IS, why IS in general. We understand the job market is good. Why CSULB specifically? There are many reasons. First of all, we are in one of the best locations in the US. We are in Southern California, right at the border of LA County. So we are in LA County, right next to Orange County, where majority of tech companies or big companies in general, if they don't have their main office in this area, they will have their second or third, biggest office in the area. And there are plenty of career fairs in this area, compared to going to a school in like a town in the middle of nowhere, where there will be no, organization or companies within a driving or relatively short driving distance or walking distance. Here, you could literally, drive to hundreds or thousands of big employers within just a few minutes drive. And with that comes, of course, career fairs that bring a lot of these big companies where you can network, apply, learn about these companies. Many of those companies come also to our campus. They post jobs, etc., because they want to recruit. We also have a group of faculty that is passionate about teaching. Most of them have industry experience. They have worked in the industry in big companies such as Microsoft, as developers, etc. And we have a lot of connections as well. So these are examples of the companies that we have connections with. And these are either companies that come to speak or come to help our students with job interviews, with mock interviews, etc. Our College of Business also is ranked. If you're familiar with accreditation or business accreditation in general, so AACSB is the most elite accreditation any business school can get. And there are only 5% in the world of business schools in the world that are accredited by AACSB, only 5%. And we are one of them. So College of Business is one of those 5%. We're also ranked by various ranking systems like the Princeton, Forbes, etc. All right, so also the MSIS here specifically at CSULB has a very small class size, relatively small class size. We always admit one cohort, so the same cohort, 40 or less. Currently, we have a 30 plus cohort that joined this fall. And this allow us to give our students the best experience and have them consistently taught by the best faculties that we may have. As compared to larger, of course, programs where you will have a cohort of 200 students or 150 students, where you would graduate and many people maybe don't even remember who you are. And each course may have different sections, and each section is taught by a different professor or different lecturer. So there is inconsistency, maybe inconsistency. With small class size, we can have consistent, curriculum and teaching, etc. We also have classes scheduled on weekdays, evenings, and Saturdays or Saturdays. This also to help those who are working professionals or those who get an internship or get a scholarship or get an assistantship and want to work in the morning. So the classes, even if you don't work, it's fine because the classes are afternoon and then or evening, weekdays and Saturday. And if you work or find a part-time job, then you can still handle it because of the time schedule. Our program is also STEM designated, and that's very important for international students because pretty much it means after you graduate, you have 3 years of OPT visa. It means you have 3 years to work without having a sponsor, and you can find a sponsor within those 3 years, and then you can, change your visa status. So it gives you an opportunity to work, find jobs, So this is a sample schedule. Of course, course offering may change year to year or semester to semester, but in general, you will finish the curriculum in 2 years, so about 2 years, 2 academic years, more or less. And that would be a sample of courses that you may take. Okay, so now I'll hand it to Karen to guide you through the application process.
Thank you, Mohammed. Now let's progress to the second part of this presentation, which is going to be the application process. Make sure it's go over. There we go. Okay, so first off, let's go over the general application requirements to apply. You must have a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited university. In the past, applicants would be required to sit for the GMAT, GRE. However, both exams are going to be waived for the fall 2022 term. You will be required to submit an updated resume and a video statement of purpose, also referred to as a video recording. This is our version of the interview process. I will go more into details in regards to this in upcoming slides. You will also need to submit a short essay statement or short answer statement, which is a short essay question pretty much. It's like 1 or 2 paragraphs long, nothing crazy. Lastly, 2 letters of recommendation are going to be required. And in the upcoming slides, I'll go more into depth in regards to all this. The entire application process is going to be completed online via the Cal State Apply website. So the application window is going to be opening really soon. So October 1st, 2021. So in another week and a half. And the deadline for international applicants is April 1st, 2022 and June 1st, 2022 for domestic applicants. The online application has 4 different quadrants or 4 different sections that need to be completed. And in the upcoming slides, I'll walk you through each one of those quadrants because there are some stuff you need to fill out, but there are some sections that you can skip. So of course, we don't want you wasting your time filling out things that no one's going to review. So I'll make sure to highlight those parts that you can go ahead and skip. At the end, I will be sending you guys a recording. I will be sending you this presentation, but I will also make sure to send you our online application guide. Pretty much it's a PDF, and my recommendation for you is once you start the online application, go ahead and open up the PDF side by side to the online application, and it literally will walk you through step by step of everything you need to do through the online application. So hopefully it'll make it nice and easy for you guys. The application fee is $70 and it's non-refundable. Lastly, so you're all aware, me and Mohammed, we do not collect any of the transcripts or test scores. All of that will be submitted directly to Enrollment Services. So they'll go ahead and collect everything for us. Before I walk you guys through the application process, I want to make you aware of the Graduate Writing Assessment, also referred to as the GWAR. So all students must fulfill the GWAR in order to be awarded a Cal State Long Beach degree. This is something that you really don't have to worry about as an applicant. This is really something you have to worry about once you start the program. So don't really worry too much about it right now, but we want to make you guys aware of this so when you are in the program, you know kind of what this is. Sorry, water. Okay, so graduate students, again, must complete this in order to apply to graduate or eligible to graduate. Graduate students have several options when it comes to fulfilling out the GWAR or the Graduate Writing Assessment. One, if you received a degree from an accredited college or a university in the United States, you can waive it. So for example, if you received your bachelor's degree within the United States, you probably already waived this requirement. 2, if you received a degree from an accredited non-US institution located in another country where English is a primary language of communication. So in other words, if you got your bachelor's degree outside the United States and the primary language is English, you have the opportunity of waiving the writing assessment. And 3rd, if you sat for the GMAT or the GRE, so for example, you may be applying to other programs and they required you to sit for the exam. If you received a 4 in the writing assessment for GRE or the GMAT, then you will be able to go ahead and waive this writing assessment. So let's say you're not able to waive it under those 3 different requirements. What will then happen during your first semester within the program, you will work with our test center and you will go ahead and take a placement exam, which is referred to as a graduate writing placement test. You're going to go ahead and take the exam either in person or online, and then you have to score a score of 11 or higher. If you score a score of 11 or higher, you can waive the writing assessment and you're good to go. You'll be eligible to graduate at the end of the program. However, if you take the placement exam and you do not score 11 and you score, for example, an 8, 9, or 10, then you would be required in your second semester in the program to take the GWAR portfolio course. If you score a 7 or below, then you would be required to take English 301A and you will have to get a C or better. I know this is a lot of information. It's a lot of information that me and Mohammed are learning as well. So again, don't stress too much about this right now. We just want to make you guys aware of it as of right now. But this, again, is something that you will have to worry about once you're actually in the program. But in regards to the online application, really nothing to worry about right now. And I did provide a link right here for you. So once you get a copy of this presentation, you can go ahead and click on that and get more information about the GWAR. Anything you want to add about that, Mohammed?
No, just like Karen said, it's not something that you'll have to worry about during the application process. And if your English is good, I don't think you will worry about the GPE test. Say you didn't do the GMAT or GRE. Most people, as we heard, most people get the score of 11 or higher if you have good English, you know.
Yes, that's a good point. They just said the passing rate is pretty high. So
yeah.
But again, we just want to make you guys aware of this beforehand. Okay, so now let's walk through the rest of the application process now that we got that out of the way. As I stated before, the entire application process will be conducted online via Cal State Applied Portal. I know it says here fall 2021 on the screen, but starting October 1st, so in another week, you'll be able to select fall 2022. You will go ahead and select graduate because you are applying as a graduate student, and you will create a portal with your email address and you'll create a password, all that. Heads up, just make sure you have it input an email address that you check on the regular, because this email address is going to be the one that Enrollment Services and us reach out to you. So in the past, I know students were like, oh, I never got your email. So you just want to make sure you select the email address that you do check, you know, every single day if possible. Once you're in the portal, there's going to be 4 different quadrants to complete. Once each quadrant is complete, the quadrant will appear green as you see here on the right screen, and then you will need to complete pretty much all 4 quadrants in order to pay the application fee and submit your application. So now I'm going to walk you through each quadrant. In personal information, which is the first quadrant, you're pretty much going to fill out all the information on here. You're going to input all your demographic and contact information. So you just want to make sure everything's checked off, and then you'll get green for the first one. For the second one, it's going to be academic history. I know here it only shows 3, but you want to go ahead. There's going to be 4 different sections here. The first one for colleges attended, you just want to go ahead and list all the colleges you attended in the past, pretty much. The one below this, which is not here on the screen, is going to be transcript entry. This is where I want you guys all to kind of pay attention here, because this is where a lot of students get confused. For transcript entry, if you already graduated with your bachelor's degree, you do not have to fill out anything in this section. You can go ahead and leave it blank. If you are in your last year, your last semester within your program, so your bachelor's degree, for example, you just want to go ahead and list the courses that you're currently enrolled in or the courses that you need to complete. So again, if you already graduated with your bachelor's, leave it empty. If not, just list the courses. For transcript entry, you do not, I repeat, you do not have to upload any transcripts into the system. We'll talk more about that later, but just know you do not have to upload any transcripts. For GPA entries, here you just want to go ahead and give us your best guess of what your current GPA is. So for, I don't know, example, your senior year, you kind of have an idea, but you're not 100% sure, or you graduated a couple years ago, and again, you don't have your transcripts on hand, so you're not sure. That's okay. Just give us your best guess, because regardless, Enrollment Services is going to go ahead and verify for us. For standardized tests, as I said before, the GMAT and the GRE are both waived, But for example, if you are required to take the English language requirement test, like the TOEFL, you can just go ahead and input your score. I know, like for example, a lot of students wait till sometime in spring to sit for one of those exams. So my advice to you is that, for example, once you start the online application within the next month, but you're still waiting for your scores to come in, just go ahead and input whatever score you're shooting for, an estimate. You're not 100% sure if it's accurate, or maybe you have your test score, your test scheduled for upcoming months, and just put the score that you're shooting for, because you just want to make sure you get your application in the system as soon as possible. You don't want to hold off submitting your application because you're waiting for your test scores to come in, because like I said, again, Enrollment Services is going to verify regardless. So just submit it, put whatever score, and then they will go ahead and manually update it themselves. The third section, this is definitely a section that there's a lot you can go ahead and skip. So there's going to be an experience and an achievements tab. You can go ahead and leave both of those completely blank. This is another part that you want to go ahead and pay attention to. Within the third quadrant, or the third section, there is going to be a statement of purpose tab. This is not the statement of purpose I was referring to earlier. Within this section, there's going to be a text box, and the screen or the system will not let you move on to the fourth and final quadrant. It won't give you the green sign as complete unless you type something into the box. So just go ahead and type in the box, I will be submitting straight to department, or you can say you will be submitting your video in quadrant 4. Honestly, you can put whatever you want. There just has to be something in this text box, so then you can move on to the fourth and final quadrant. So the fourth one, this is the most important section. This is the section that our program will be reviewing when it comes to deciding if you're admitted into the program. The three main sections within this quadrant are going to be questions, documents, and recommendations. And I'm going to go ahead and walk you through each one of those right now. So the first one, questions. You will upload the link to your video recording, and you're going to also copy and paste your response to the short essay question within the question tab. The video recording is our version to the interview process. This is your opportunity to give the committee a better idea of who you are, and your video recording should be no longer than 5 minutes. I get a lot of questions from students saying, can I waive the video recording? Do I really have to submit it? And yes, the answer is yes, you do need to submit a video recording of yourself. And the question you want to go ahead and answer is, what are your career goals in the next 3 to 5 years? And what, in your imagination, would be your long-term dream job? If you use YouTube, you want to make sure you set up your link to public. If you set it to private, we will not be able to view it, and then I'll have to reach out to you and ask you to update it, and I'll delay your application. So just again, if you use YouTube, make sure you set it to public. For the short answer question, the character limit is 1,500. So not word limit. A lot of students get confused by that. So not word limit, but character limit. Anything more than that, the system won't let you submit it. And you will go ahead and answer the following question. Describe a time when you dealt with someone who is difficult. How did you handle that situation? What would you do differently if you could do it over again? And again, you're gonna answer that question, and you're gonna copy and paste it into the question section within the fourth quadrant. So again, not the third quadrant, but the fourth quadrant. The documents tab within the fourth quadrant is pretty straightforward. Here, you're just going to go ahead and upload your most updated resume. No transcripts again, you do not upload any transcripts, so just upload your most updated resume, CV, things like that. Okay, so recommendations. As I said before, we require 2 letters of recommendation. And these letters should be written by someone who you have an academic or professional relationship with. You need to go ahead and type out their first name, last name, and email address within the fourth quadrant. And heads up for you, my recommendation for best practices is make sure you reach out to your recommender and give them a heads up that, or request for them to be your recommender. Because once you input their information to the system automatically notifies them. So not after you pay and submit your application, but once you actually input their information in the system will automatically send them an email. They will notify them that so-and-so asked for them to be their recommender to Cal State Long Beach, and it will provide them with a link. What they'll go ahead is they'll type out their letter of recommendation and they will upload the letter to the link, and the link will come directly back to our system. So that makes it really streamlined for both parties involved. We get asked all the time what we would like to see a recommender include in their letters. So below are some points for you, so you can send these points to your recommender. So let me break it down for you. A short summary of your history with that person. So were they a professor of yours, manager, supervisor, things like that. A statement or list of characteristics they believe you have that will help you excel in the program. And then some examples of tasks, projects, or contributions you made in the classroom, a team, workplace. And lastly, have them include a strong closing statement endorsing you to the program. Okay, so that's it about the whole online application process, all the steps and everything. Now let's go over transcripts. So as I said it a couple times now, I keep repeating it because I want to make sure you guys are aware. You do not upload any transcripts or anything to the system. Once you officially submit Cal State Apply, you pay the application fee, you then will go ahead and receive a confirmation email from our room of services, which is pretty much like admissions and records, and they will go ahead and confirm that they received your online application, and you'll also receive your student ID, which your student ID issued for Cal State Long Beach. You want to go ahead and use that student ID when it comes to submitting your transcripts. It just makes it a lot more streamlined when they're looking up documents, or you can, if you send it your transcripts in physically, you can write your student ID on the envelope. Again, it will make it more streamlined to process everything. For our domestic applicants, so if you went to bachelor's, master's program here within the United States, you have the option of submitting your transcript electronically. So you can go ahead and use this website on the screen, and you can give it to your institution, to your admissions and records, and they can electronically send your transcripts, or you can go ahead and request your transcripts to be in a sealed document, and go ahead and write your campus-wide ID on the envelope. Don't open it, because once you open it, it's no longer official. And you only need to request one set. That's something new for this upcoming fall. In the past, students would be required to submit 2 sets of official transcripts, but it's only going to be 1 set. And they have also notified us that let's say you went to a bunch of different community colleges, you only need to submit your bachelor's degree. You no longer have to submit transcripts for all the community colleges that you attended in the past, just your bachelor's degree. For international students, in the past, I know with COVID and everything, they were a lot more lenient when it came to submitting official transcripts. However, honestly, moving forward, I don't know how it's going to be. And me and Mohammed are not the ones when it comes to decide this. This whole process is 100% ran by our Center for International Education. And all questions in regards to submitting transcripts, in regards to visa, in regards to I-20, you want to go ahead and email the email address on the screen. You want to make sure to save this, because even if you email me those questions, I'll try my best to answer you, but 90% of the time I'm going to direct you to that email address. So make sure you note that down. And when it comes to official transcripts, they will request physical official transcripts in a sealed envelope. I know with everything going on, some schools may take a lot longer than usual. So you want to make sure you begin this process super early, because it will delay your application. So you want to make sure, again, sealed envelope, do not open it, and they will request mark sheets, transcripts, graduation certs, degree certs, all that stuff. and this is the mailing address you want to go ahead and mail those physical documents to. Okay, so I'm going to talk really quickly about the Fast Track program. This is for our current Cal State Long Beach students. Let's say you're on right now and you are a junior, a senior at Cal State Long Beach. You have the opportunity of partaking in our Fast Track application process. There are certain eligibilities you need to meet, and those are stated right there on the screen. And this pretty much gives our current Cal State Long Beach students the opportunity to accelerate through the application process. So for example, you will not be required to sit for the GMAT or the GRE. You do not have to submit a video recording and 2 letters of recommendation. There is an online application in order to be eligible for this Fast Track application process. So reach out to the email address on the screen, and then we can go ahead and send you that link so you can apply for the Fast Track application. You'll get reviewed, and then we will notify you if you got approved. Okay, some frequently asked questions for you guys, and Mohammed, you're more than welcome to jump in and help answer these as well. So is the program STEM designated? As Mohammed answered before, yes, we are STEM designated. Do I need to have work experience in IS or IT to apply? No, work experience in both IS and IT is desirable, but certainly not essential. So it's not required. Do I need to know how to code before I join? We get asked this question a lot, and it's, as you can see here on the screen, it is desirable, but not essential or required. There's other skill sets that definitely you want to go ahead and maybe start dabbling in. Any feedback you want to give in regards to that question, Mohammed?
No, so we look at your potential for joining, the IS program, and of course seeking a career in IS field. So recently, for example, we have a featured student that will show in the newsletter in December, and she was international, and she also made a career shift. So not from IT, not from IS, but now she's joining a top company in an IS related role. So when you're applying, you have to make your best effort in your resume and your statement of purpose, all the documents you submit, the questions you answer, to show us that you have that desire, you have that interest in seeking a career in IS if you don't have experience or an IS related degree.
And then we get asked a lot about the student experience. So again, you're getting a copy of this presentation, and there is a link here to a student panel webinar. So you can go ahead and click on that and listen to current students explain their experience in the program. So that might be helpful for you. And then what is the cost of tuition? So the MSIS program is a flat rate fee program. It is $1,050 per unit. And the overall cost will be around $31,500 total for the program. That cost does include books, materials, parking pass, bus pass, meals for Saturday class, things like that. And that is it. So that is our presentation. And then at this point, it's totally open to you. Oh my God, I just realized my video is not on. Hi. Yeah, this is me. I didn't realize my video was on. I'm sorry about that, guys. So yeah, so at this point, you are more than welcome to ask us questions. The chat box is open, so feel free to type out your questions there, or you're more than welcome to unmute yourself and ask your question as well. Me and Mohammed will go ahead and take turns answering your questions.
Yeah, hey Mohammed, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi, this is Pawan here. I was going through the coursework of CSULB's this MSIS program. I did not see the option for the electives. I could see like 7 or 8 of them on the website, has that list been increased, or where can I find the courses offered for the entire program, be it electives or core?
Yeah, so yeah, go ahead, Karen. Karen, go ahead.
You can go ahead. I know you're working on all that right now anyways.
Yeah, so we have a list of electives that have been approved, and I'm working on approving a few more. However, we don't offer all of the electives all the time because, as we mentioned, we have a smaller class size. So we don't have, at the moment, we don't have the options per se to select 3 out of 7, you know, to register in any 3 out of 7. We offer 3 or 4 that people have to take based on how the demand is going. So now we're focusing more on analytics and cybersecurity. And hopefully in the near future, we will increase the options.
Yeah, that helps. By when can we expect an update to the list, if any, to the electives offered?
So an update, you may expect it end of October, because the deadline to approve any new course is October 31st. And I'm working right now on that. So any update that you may want to see will happen October 31st onwards.
Okay, yeah, that helps. Thanks, Mohammed and Karen.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Of course, thank you for the question. And then we had some questions here in the chat box. I was responding to some of them. So one question is, the spring 2022 spring deadline already over? For the MSIS program, we actually only accept in the fall. So we did not have a spring admission intake. So the fall application window will be opening up, like I said before, October 1st. And the deadline for domestic students will be June 1st. And then deadline for international students will be April 1st. And then another question was, can we submit our GRE scores? Will it be considered? From my understanding, I do not believe so, because it's waived for everybody. Correct, Mohammed? Like it wouldn't be fair to consider one person's GRE if somebody else didn't when it wasn't required.
Yeah, but they can submit it for the GUAR if they did.
Yes,
4 or more.
100%. Yes.
So yeah, so if you did the GRE and you got, let's say, 4 on the writing, submit it so that you already don't have to worry about the GUAR test.
Yes, that's a good point. Let's see.
Karen, can I ask a question? Hello?
Yes.
Yes. So I have 2 questions. First one is, what are the requirements for like TOEFL and IELTS? What are that requirements in CSU?
You know what? I should know this on top of my head, and I am totally drawing a blank right now. And I just realized that wasn't in our presentation. So what I'll do is,
I know. Actually, I had seen it on the website, but I wanted to know. There is new test like a Duolingo test. I think that's the name it has. So is it acceptable at CSULB, or
yes, it is.
only TOEFL is acceptable? Okay,
Yeah, we also accept that.
Okay, Duolingo is also accepted. And as you said, the application window is opening on 1st of October. So how will be the decision dates, or the is it ongoing process, or you will send us the decisions, admission decisions in particular month? What is it like?
It is going to be on a rolling basis. So as we receive applications, they're completed, I will go ahead and push them forward to Mohammed, who will go ahead and start reviewing them as soon as they're completed. And then he'll go ahead and start reviewing and sending out decisions. So it's a pretty large application window. So we will be sending applications on a rolling basis as they're completed, but I definitely recommend that students, submit their applications as soon as possible so they can go ahead and get that like acceptance as soon as possible as well. So if you, for example, for students who have to get like I-20 visas, I know last year there was a lot of delays due to COVID and everything. So the better you submit everything, the better for everybody, because you can start that process sooner.
Yes, right.
Yes, so
And
I second Karen's point. So you would want to complete all of your documents as early as possible, because we will also make the decisions as early as possible, because we want you to have the I-20 as fast as possible. And it also helps you in a way that you don't have to worry,
Yes.
later about what can happen to you,
yes, right. And my last question is regarding the financial assistance, because I'll be opting for education loan, and my I think I'll opt for international education loan that is provided by Prodigy Finance. So is it acceptable at CSULB, or I mean, as a financial support, do you accept that kind of loan at CSU?
That is a great question. I'm not 100% sure. When it comes to all like loan application, like loan questions, what would be acceptable, things like that, I usually refer our students. We have a department, I can't think of their name right now, Center of Professional Education or International Students, I can't think of it right now, but they are the ones who do all the processing for us. So usually I would recommend you to reach out directly to them, and you can reach out to me and I can provide you with their email address, so you can go ahead and get the approval ahead of time, which will probably be the best thing to do, because if they don't accept it, then we have to look, for other options. But from my understanding, I think you'll be fine, but I don't want to be the person that says yes or no, because that's outside of our realm. But just reach out to me directly, and I could go ahead and get you in contact with that individual.
Okay, thank you, Karen and Mohammed. That's all from me.
And then there was a question about, I'm looking for financial scholarships. Should I apply to that after application payment or before? So from my understanding, when it comes to any type of scholarship, you want to make sure, of course, you submit your application, you got a student ID, and I believe you need to be admitted to the program first. Sometimes you have to wait till like you're in your first semester to apply for scholarships. I know, like, since we just started this new term, within the first 2 weeks, they were sending us so many emails about possible scholarships open for newly admitted current students. So they really start all that at the beginning of the semester. But I do believe you have to go ahead and be admitted first. Does Cal State Long Beach offer TA, RA, GA positions? Yes, we do. And do we qualify automatically, or is there a different process for them? So it is going to be like an application process. We do have those positions available. And for example, I know Mohammed was working in regards to that and working with our dean's office. So the positions, those opportunities are there, but there will be application process, resumes you need to submit, and they'll go ahead and review them. But definitely the opportunities are there.
Yeah, so there are opportunities, of course, limited, not for everyone in the cohort. So you have to apply, and then there is an interviewing process, many people involved, and basically you have to be hired through an application process. But there are opportunities.
Yeah. Hey, Karen and Mohammed. One more question, right? Can you touch upon the diversity in the class? Like, what is the average intake that you have, and just touch upon the diversity in the class for MSIs?
So diversity in terms of background, or in terms of
background and nationalities, and different parameters, generic ones.
Yeah, so for example, this current cohort, majority are international, more than 50% are international, but we do also have a good number of local students. I would say 30 to 40% in every cohort is local, and then about 60% or so are international. And in terms of background, we also have a diverse background. Many people come from technology-related degrees, but we have a good number also that are making career shift. And I'm a believer of this. Cal State or CSULB is one of the best or one of the top universities in social mobility, basically helping people make changes or career shifts or financial changes in their life. So we also believe the same. So anyone who has that desire or interest or potential to make a career shift and has the interest in IS in general, technology in general, and can really show it, then we would also welcome them. So we do have a pretty good mix of both people from tech backgrounds and non-tech background, things like economics I mentioned before, and business, other business majors, accounting, finance, especially because nowadays it's interdisciplinary. You could combine multiple industries or domains in one.
Yeah, that was a good answer. Yeah, thanks, Mohan.
Mm-hmm.
Question, does the program have a particular number of international applicants that they accept every year? Also, what's the acceptance rate for the MSIS program? Guess that'll be a good question for you, Mohammed.
Yeah, there is a question before that, so maybe you want to take them.
Oh, I didn't see that, sorry. Roll up. Here, let me see. Yes. Yeah, so this is a great question. Sorry, I didn't see this. So for the tuition, so the 31,500, I believe that's what it was. If it's unit per wise payment, how long is a unit? So is it upfront? No, it is not upfront. We do pay by semester. So for example, your first semester, you may be taking, 6 or 9 units. And so you pay per unit. So 1 unit is going to be that 1,050. So I believe the semester cost if you're taking 3 classes is going to be around $9,000 per semester. So it's not upfront if you pay per semester, and you work with our the office I was referring to earlier. You work with them when it comes to the payment plans, processing payments, wire transfers, all that. And then our semesters are going to be 16-week long. So how long is a unit? So 16 weeks, I guess you can say, is the answer to that. And then if you want to go answer that question, Mohammed, about the...
So we did have a pretty high number of applicants last year. So for this cohort, we have about 30 plus people, but we had over 200 applications, definitely. I don't know the exact number on the top of my head, but somewhere between 200 to 300 applicants. And we have 30 plus, so about, say 10% or so. So that's why I said complete your applications early as possible, so we can make a decision as early as possible, right? Because the number of spots may be limited if you wait toward the end.
Thank you, Mohammed. So next question, do we need to get WES evaluation? So WES is going to be a third-party evaluation company. Definitely when it comes to third-party evaluation companies, that is going to be the most preferred, most recommended third-party company when it comes to those transcript evaluations. Evaluation from WES is not required, but it is preferred by enrollment services. So nowhere is it going to say you have to submit a WES evaluation. You can go ahead and submit your transcripts the way they are. our enrollment services team is trained to evaluate, to calculate, to convert your units over to US standards. So they are trained in regards to that. But again, another reason why it's good to apply early, because there could be, run the risk where they get your transcripts and they may not have the training to exactly evaluate your specific transcript. So if they do run into that issue, they will contact you directly and ask you to go through WES and provide them with a documentation, or maybe they're reviewing your transcript and they are not 100% sure if your degree is accredited or if it's from an approved accredited university outside the United States. So again, they will ask you to go through WES. So another good reason why it's good to apply early, but no, it's not required.
Hey, Kiran, this is
Mohammed, hi,
Shraddha
Karan.
here.
Oh,
You can go ahead.
all right, thank you. Hi, Karan. Hi, Mohammed.
Hello.
I'm Mohammed from Bangladesh. So I'm making a career shift from accounting to the world of IT. So that's why I'm planning to apply for the program. So I had a quick question, like, since I'm making a transition to IT, would you recommend or suggest any pre-courses should I take before starting the program that will help me initially to, make the transition?
Yeah,
Right.
so personal advice, this is also in general. Even if, let's say, you don't apply to us, you don't apply to MSIS and CSULB, and you apply somewhere else, or you apply to many different places, and you want to prove to people that you really want to make that shift. So simple things like online courses that you can find at, Khan Academy or any of those online. I don't want to make advertisement, but any of those online, platforms, and some of them are pretty cheap, $40, $50 a course.
Yeah.
You can do things in Python, in analytics, things like this. It would show us that you're actually invested. When I see someone has done 3 or 4 of those online, right? Maybe did even their own project and put it on GitHub, for example, and put the link there. That gives me a lot of proof, and any other university, that this person is actually serious and they really are interested in making that career shift.
Okay.
So this small strategy, trust me, will help you get admitted in many, many programs, not only us, many other programs as well.
I understand. And I had a second question also. I already did a master's from US on accounting, and I got an OPT after graduation. So after doing this master's, the second master's, will I be eligible to get a second OPT, or should I consult with someone else? So yeah, if you could highlight on that.
Karen, you may know better.
I was going to say, do you know? Because I'm not 100% sure. No, that's a really good question. I honestly have not received that question before.
I know one person at CSULB who did an MBA. He was also international. I think he was from Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken. And then he did MS in supply chain, because I know the guy. He used to be one of our TAs. I don't know how it worked, to be honest. So maybe Karen can give you the right email to ask.
Yeah, that would definitely be a good question to reach out to at that email address I referred to on the other side, the CIE -admissions. They would probably be the best one to answer that question, especially because with everything going on with COVID, there's so many things that have been changing lately that every month it's like something new, and we're constantly trying to catch up as well with regards to the new regulations. So that would be a good question to ask them, or again, just email me. Let me put my email address here too. Just email me directly, because I kind of need to know that question. It's a good question.
It's a good question, yeah. But it's a very rare case. I don't think any of us had a case like this before.
And also, if there is an opportunity to meet with an international advisor in person, since I'm currently happen to be in California right now, traveling.
Perfect.
Yeah. it'd be great actually if I could meet someone in person and ask these questions, you know.
Yeah, so with, they may not do in person because of like COVID and everything, but they are doing like Zoom meetings.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so you may be able to set up like a Zoom meeting with them or like a phone call, but most likely Zoom, and then you can go ahead and you know, ask those very specific questions to them.
All right.
But
So,
email me directly, and then then I will go ahead and reach out to somebody in regards to that question because I want to know too.
oh, all right. That would be really helpful. Thank you, Karen.
Of course. And there were some questions up here I was still addressing. Mohammed, what's the total required units for the masters? I can't.
So for the masters, it's 10 courses, 30 units.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there was gonna be 31. Okay, 30, got it. And then,
I think yeah.
no, I have to
So-
double check too, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah. So classes right now, because of the pandemic, we have some classes hybrid and some classes online. The plan in spring, all classes will be either in person, maybe one or two may have some hybrid sessions. And for you guys, you'll join next fall. So it's
Yes.
going to be in person. That's the plan. We may have one or two classes hybrid here or there, but the vast majority of classes will be in person.
And then there was a question, do we have to send the official transcripts before being admitted or after being admitted? So you do need to submit your official transcripts after you submit your CASI Apply application. We are not able to give you an admissions decision without an official transcript. So it's important that you submit that after you submit your application, so then it can be reviewed, so then a GPA calculation can be conducted. They can't do the GPA calculation without the actual physical transcript.
Hey Kiran, so the transcripts for international students, they should like should we start the process right now so that it
Yes.
will we will need to mail them, right? Mail you the transcripts. So
Yes.
it would be, I think it would be better if we started now.
Yeah, so I know like obviously the application window is not open, but I would go ahead and start that process of, you know, of requesting those transcripts, because sometimes they can, like I've heard where it's like 30 days or more where the school processes that request. So go ahead and start the request now. You can have them send you or pick up, or if you have the option, or have them mail you the official transcript. And once you receive it, don't open it, because if you open up the envelope, it's no longer considered official. So they will provide everything in a sealed document. They usually have it stamped with a seal. And then you go ahead and put that envelope into another envelope, obviously, and then you will mail that directly to enrollment services. And then they will be the one to go ahead and open up the seal and stamp it official.
Okay, thank you. One more question, for the GOR test which you mentioned, if I have done my complete bachelor's degree in English itself, the course of language was English, will I be able to waive off the GOR requirement, or will I have to take it?
Yeah, so based off those qualifications, again, if your bachelor's degree was conducted, you know, mainly in English or 100% English, then you should, based off the specifications, should be able to waive from the GOR. So what they'll do is once they receive those official transcripts, they'll go ahead and verify that everything was taught 100% in English, and then from there, they'll go ahead and communicate that you are waived from the GOR.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Karen, hi.
Hi.
I want to ask another question. Like, I have done my MBA here in my country, and before MBA, I have done my engineering in computer science. So, do I have to send both the transcripts for my bachelor's degree and my MBA degree, or I just have to send the bachelor's degree transcripts?
Like I said before, I know the university has changed its policies when it comes to transcripts. I know for like community colleges, they're being lenient, but in your case, to be safe, I know 100% sure you got to submit your bachelor's degree because that's the most important one. But if you do want your units from your MBA to be considered into your GPA calculation, then yes, submit the MBA mark sheets, transcripts, and the bachelor one as well.
Okay, thank you.
Does that
I
make
have
sense?
both of them. Yes, I have both of them with me, so there
Okay.
is no problem. I just send both of them when I apply.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I'm missing. Oh, can we send official transcripts via email? My university doesn't often send them to the foreign university email. That is a good question. I can't say yes or no because I'm not in charge when it comes to their processing when it comes to that. So that will be a good one to email DIE. They may, you know what, I think in the past they were allowing students, if the schools did allow the option to send official transcripts in via email, have them send it via the CIE one, that email address I gave. They may be able to send it directly to that email address. But the other one, I think, was just specifically just for domestic applications. Okay, so you guys definitely asked really good questions. Okay, one more. For submitting the letter to okay, so for submitting a letter of recommendations, will recommendations have to type in the so definitely refer back to the slide that I went over for letters of recommendation. In the system, you will just have to type in their first name, last name, email address. The system will automatically notify them and let them know that they need to submit their letter to the link. I recommend that you reach out to your recommender, provide copy and paste those bullet points I went over so they know what to include in the letter. And then they could go ahead and upload the letter once it's completed with their signature and everything to the link, and the link will come straight in the letter will come directly back into our system. So I know me and Mohammed have another meeting in a couple of minutes, and I definitely need a break before that meeting. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you everybody for going ahead and joining us, for staying on, for asking your really great questions. I hope this is all really super helpful, and now you have our contact information. So we look forward to seeing your applications come through the system, and just know we'll be here. For example, me, I'll be here to answer all your questions once the application window opens. Anything you want to say, Mohammed?
No, thank you guys for joining. It's been a pleasure and hope to see you soon.
Take care, everybody. And then I will most likely tomorrow morning, I will be going ahead and sending you guys the copy of the recording of this session, along with a copy of the PowerPoint and the application guide. So you guys can use this all as a resource to help you through the application. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.